Want to save hours of debugging, confusing schema updates, and messy SQL queries? In this video, we're diving into 3 database design mistakes that I see developers, especially beginners, make. These aren't your commonly heard mistakes either, like not adding a primary key. These are less common but can still cause you issues. However, they are simple to avoid once you know about them. The first mistake is about data types. Relational databases have many different data types available for you to use for your columns. Even within the categories of text, numbers, and dates, there are more specific types. One of the most common data types is called varchar, which is short for variable character. It might be a different type in different databases. For example, in Oracle, we generally use varchar 2. It's a flexible data type and easy to work with. However, using varchar for every column is the first mistake in this video. It might feel flexible, but defaulting to varchar for every column is risky and a little lazy. Sure, it can easily store the data you want. However, it's better to use specific data types for the data you want to store. Use a numeric data type for number values and include decimal points if you need to. Use a date data type for dates and one of the other date-time data types if you need times. There are a few benefits of using the correct data type. First, the data types include validation. If you need to store a date value, you can store anything that looks like a date in a varchar column, such as the 31st of February. But if you use a date column, you can't. There is validation as part of these date columns to ensure only valid dates can be added. The same thing can be said for numbers and many other data types. The second benefit is that your queries can be faster. The data is stored more efficiently if it's using an appropriate data type, which can improve your query performance as it can be processed faster and less data is returned by your query. It's easier for the database to perform calculations on numbers if the values are in a number type column rather than a text column. The same can be said for dates. So that's the first mistake, and you can avoid it by using appropriate data types for your columns. The second mistake is about how you name your database objects. In most databases, you have a few rules about characters that can't be used in names, but otherwise you're pretty free to name your objects what you want. This includes tables and columns, but also other objects such as views and stored procedures. This is helpful, but it can also make things harder for you and others. The mistake I wanted to share is having inconsistent naming styles. For example, you have an ID column as a primary key on many of your tables. In your user table, you call it user ID. In another table, the customer table, you call it customer ID. Notice how the case is different and there's an underscore in the user ID column, but not customer ID. This is what I mean by inconsistent naming. Sure, both tables have an ID, but the format and convention of the name is different. This inconsistency leads to confusion when writing queries, more bugs as you'll get the names of the columns wrong, and it makes onboarding harder for new team members. I've seen this a lot in my current project at work. Many columns have inconsistent naming, and newer columns added over time don't follow the same conventions. It makes it harder to remember what the columns are called, and I often have to go to the Object Explorer to find the name of the column. The same can be said for table names, not just columns. For example, user or users, customer or customers, or TBL customer. How do you avoid this mistake? Choose a naming convention and stick to it. It will make life easier for you and for others in the future. Many people overthink the design of their database because they're afraid to get it wrong. They think that if they get the design of a table wrong or the relationships, or forget to put something in a table, it won't work. And that may be true, but databases are flexible. You can evolve and update your design as your understanding grows. And you should, actually. The days of working on waterfall projects where designs cannot be changed are over, I hope. The third mistake is trying to get your design perfect on the first try. This is a noble goal, but it can cause wasted effort and delays. Development tools and processes have evolved, making it easy to update designs as things change. You can add columns, rename tables, and refactor the structure at a later date, even after you launch. Modern SQL tools support these schema changes, migrations, and versioning of databases. So if you are worried about missing something or getting it wrong, that's okay. You can always update it later. And if you find that you do need to update it later, that's okay. It's usually pretty easy to do. Avoiding just these three things will help you build a cleaner, faster, and more maintainable database. So now that you've avoided these mistakes with your design, let's talk about the next step, connecting your tables together. In the next video, I'll show you how to relate your tables together properly, including an easy way to determine which way your primary key and foreign key relationship should go. Thanks for watching.